Germany. I know there is also people from Peru and India. I see Berlin. Let's see more people typing. So many participants. We are expecting a lot from very different places around the world. So if you can share with us where you are dialing in from, that would be great. Let's see from somewhere else. I see that more people are joining. I can read Ethiopia. That's nice. It's nice to see so many people gathering together and having the same interests. So maybe we can take to the next question. Could you tell me in one word, what do you expect from today's webinar? Tanzania, Nairobi, Kenya. Welcome everyone. Jamaica, I see that this is a very international call. That's great. Ideas, inspirations, very nice. As far as I know, your expectations will be matched during this call. I believe you will get very nice outputs and interesting points of view from our speakers. I see Uganda, sustainability, that's great. Let's see if someone else join DHL. I think that you will get some tips for that. That's nice. Inspiration, insight, ideas, future work. I see also some people adding in the chat. Maybe you can join Slido with the QR code. And like that, we will have all the ideas going in one. So, before we begin, we want to remind you that this session will be recorded.
Recording in progress.
So then more people can also watch it, that maybe they could not watch it today. And also, we will appreciate if you can keep your mic on mute and turn off the camera so we do not disturb the speakers. And also, feel free to use Slido if you have any questions for the speakers, because we will have some space after for that. And use the Zoom chat in case that you have any kind of technical problems, because someone will reach out to you and try to help. And also, the webinar will be simultaneously translated into French, Spanish, and Portuguese by live interpreters. So, to listen to this webinar in another language, simply click on the button Interpretation down in the menu, select your preferred language, and enjoy the session. Now, let's begin with the webinar with an introduction by Christoph Selig, or as we like to call him, the father of GoTeach.
Thank you, Monica. I think some even call me the grandfather of GoTeach, but that's a different discussion. Hi, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening on this Friday. Quite excited to kick off this World of Tomorrow session of today. I'm with Deutsche Post DHL for 21 years, and I can tell you I never planned to work in logistics. So that is in very short my story of how I ended up with DHL. I'm extremely happy to have three excellent guests today for the World of Tomorrow. This is Sneha and Anna, representing our global GoTeach partners, Teach for All in SS Children's Villages, and John. John is the global CEO of DHL Express. And John, I'll hand it over to you in a minute. I remember very much our very first discussion we had on purpose. That must have been like the first week of January 2021. And what you have developed since and how you not just implemented but embedded purpose in your organization is quite cool to see. So I'm very much looking forward to learn more about this, but also to learn more about how your individual and your personal journey was, how you ended up finally being becoming the CEO of DHL Express, which is a very global role, the most global one can have probably. So not have more words. John, over to you for this for your inspirational talk, and then we go over to a kind of a panel discussion together with Sneha and Anna. Thanks very much.
Okay, thank you. I was actually given some, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. I was actually given some quiz questions also, and then the suggestion that I talk about my journey a bit. So maybe what I do is I do it all in one, and give you as many insights as I can. And I will go through the quiz question because they made me laugh a bit. The first one was, I've been in DHL 36 years, but I feel like I joined yesterday. But the first question I was asked was, what was your dream job when you were younger? And I think there's something good that comes out of this question. My first dream job was actually to be a lorry driver, a truck driver. I was asked at, someone may laugh, I was asked at the age of like 9 and 10. I went to boarding school when I was 9 years old. That means you go away and you stay at this school, you don't see your parents. And they did all these career things. And one of them was, what do you want to be? And I said, a lorry driver. And then they had sort of all this sort of profiling of what your skills were and whether you would ever be a lorry driver. But the point I'm making is that no one knows what they want to be. A few people do. Some people say, I want to be a vet, and they indeed turn out to be a vet looking after animals. Some people say, I want to be a doctor, and they indeed turn out to be a doctor. But by and large, most people between 0 and I would go so far as to say 22, 23, 24 don't really know what they want to be. And so here was I at 9 years old saying a lorry driver. And I think it is important to say, because my first job after leaving college, and I'll come back to the college thing in a minute, was selling plastic bags, telephone sales in London. So I had a telephone, I sat in an office with 5 other people, and we were selling 1 million bags to Tesco's or 1 million bags to London County Council for refuse, the bins you see when you walk around London or wherever else. And I did that for a year. But I didn't know at 22 that I wanted to sell plastic bags. And I definitely didn't know that I wanted to join DHL. So it's no problem not knowing what you want to do, because your passion and your purpose and your interests all develop over time. In fact, I know many people that said, I want to be a pilot or I want to go to the moon, and these things never happened. So to not know, don't feel pressured if you don't know exactly what you want to do, because the answer will come. And then that links me to university a bit, because
John,
yeah.
Do you mind if we first explain what World of Tomorrow is all about, and then in a minute we will go to university? Because
what do you want to do?
First, we would like to explain how World of Tomorrow is all about, and then we will go back to your university period.
Okay, yeah.
That's perfect. Nice. So, World of Tomorrow is all about inspiring the youth through different topics with special guests, like John today, to give ideas for your career and your personal lives. In World of Tomorrow, we speak about essential topics for the youth, like youth empowerment, education, business and trade, sustainability, or about the future of work. That's today's topic. For delivering this event, we have DHL, SOS Children Villages, and Teach for All members joining hands to bring this into life. So the idea is that we carry on the spark by improving the lives of others.
Okay. I'll start again. Well, I don't literally start again, but it's good you put that up, because what I'm talking about now is exactly sparking an idea. So my point was there that, you might choose a university course. I didn't go to university. I went to college, which was my qualification is a higher national diploma, which is less than a degree. And to be honest, I wasn't going to go to university or college or anything. I was going to go straight out and look for work. But my parents told me, having spent so much on my education, that I needed to go to university or something like that. So anyway, I did at college agricultural marketing. And, that's because I had some interest maybe in agriculture and farming. But I've already said to you that my first job was selling plastic bags, and my second job was working for DHL in Bahrain in the Middle East. So you can see that if I summarize that, at 9 or 10, I wanted to be a lorry driver. Then between 9 and 20 years old, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I was just living my life. Then I thought, well, maybe I go to agricultural college because I grew up on a farm type situation. And I thought maybe that's the right avenue. And then when I left, I applied for a job selling plastic bags. And then I saw a job that wanted salespeople for DHL in Bahrain. And my mother said to me, what on earth are you doing? Do you know what DHL is? I said, no. Do you know where Bahrain is? I said, no. And she said, well, why are you applying for a job? I said, well, I want to work overseas. So I guess what I did know is that I wanted to travel and I wanted to go outside of the UK. And that's what I did. And we come back to that sort of career thing in a minute. But the second question I was asked was, how did you get into management? And, you know, my advice to anyone on the call is it just happens over time. So the first thing is, as I've just said, understanding what you want to do at some point of time, whether you're 20 or 21 or 22, or you even maybe know when you're 15, and that might be that you want to be a footballer. But understanding what you want to do, and then finding companies in that area. And the second piece of advice I'd give you is just don't rush into anything. You know, I think I'm a great believer in holiday jobs, internships, short-term assignments, because they give someone all the experience of, it's like renting a house before you buy it. They give someone all the experience of seeing what a company is like. Everyone says, oh, what's a company like? Well, a company is just a building with lots of people in it. Some people are doing operations, some people are doing sales, some people are doing marketing, some people are picking up packages, some people are recruiting people. It's just a number of different things in most companies all over the world. There are all quite a lot of similarity, really. So understand what you want to do, but understand your skills, understand your orientation. What I mean by that is that, you know, you should, if you're strong on maths and sciences and process, and the sort of technical side of the world, which could be operations or IT or supply chain, you will know that you've got a natural orientation in that area. If you studied the arts or HR or people and things like that, you may be more suited to jobs like HR or sales or marketing. You don't have to study marketing to get into marketing. So I think understanding what you're good at, and my whole time in DHL, which is 36 years, I've only been in 2 jobs really. I've either been in commercial management or general management. What I'm in now as the CEO of DHL Express is general management. I'm managing a team of experts. When I was in sales, I was always in sales or marketing or pricing, because that's where my orientation was, about growing the top line of the company rather than necessarily focusing on quality or focusing on operational process, or focusing on building hubs. So what it is you're interested in, number one, what you think your skills and your orientation is, operations or HR or IT or finance, and then look at companies in that field. But be prepared to do, you know, some people are maybe quite young on the call, do holiday jobs, do 2 weeks, do 4 weeks. I often encourage anyone to come to DHL for a short period of time. In fact, I recently brought someone into the sports marketing team just for 3 months, because everyone has got to get their first step. And once you've got your first step on your resume, that's very important. So it says your name, it says where you went to school, it says you like football, cricket and hockey, whatever. And it says internship, DHL, or internship, IBM, internship, Adidas, whatever it may be. So keep on looking for those opportunities. And as I said, I'm talking to people maybe before their first job, and some people have got their first job, but that's really how I did it. So back to the question now, how did you get into management? It just happened. Could everyone go on mute, please? If you're listening, just push that mute button, wherever you may be, on your mobile phone or your laptop. It makes it easier if you push the mute. it just happened. So when I joined DHL, I wasn't a manager. I was selling in Bahrain. And then I went to Jeddah in Saudi Arabia, and I wasn't a manager. I was selling. And then I got the job in the different province of Saudi Arabia, the eastern province, and I suddenly had 60 people. Filipinos, Indians, Pakistanis, New Zealand, Australian, one English guy, a mixture of people. And I was suddenly thrown into management. And it just sort of happened. So the question, how did you get into management, was it just happens. And it'll happen to you, depending on, which path you take and what you want to do and in what country. But be patient, because if you demonstrate some skills that companies are looking for, and I'll come on to that, then you'll naturally be selected to move on up through the company. I found no reason to leave DHL. I joined and I had a good first job, and then second job, and then third job, and I never looked in the newspaper for another job. But people are always looking. I want to go and work for American Express. I want to go and work there. Maybe it's going to be better. Well, oftentimes it is not better. And the company you're with is the right place for you if you feel you can flourish. And that's why DHL wants to be a great place to work for all. Not for a few, not for many, for all. Because I believe that everyone in DHL Express can be happy in that company. If they have a good supervisor, and if the supervisor has a good manager, the manager has a good boss, and then the person leading the company in the right way, then people will enjoy it. And people need to leave work. If you ever find yourself in a job where you're leaving work unhappy, do that for a week or two longer than you have done, and then decide whether it's the right company for you. Because there's no point in hanging around if you're not doing what's passionate for you. And that brings me on to another point, in fact, that when you choose a job, you should really try and understand what the job is all about. At the end of an interview, you might well be asked, have you got any questions? 9 times out of 10, people say, oh, no, I don't have any questions. Well, you should ask. You should say, I have got a question. Can you really tell me what I will be doing day to day and what the purpose of my job is? And get that clarified, because I know so many people that have joined a company and it hasn't been what they wanted, and then they have to leave. So if you do join a company, on the longer term basis, try and stay there for as long as you enjoy it. Try and build up a little bit of history there, one promotion or something like that. Then you will naturally be part of that firm, and I'm sure you will move up within it. And that really is the best advice I can give you about starting the journey of career. Or if you're in a company already, just reflect on some of the things I've said and apply it to the company you're in. Now I move on to the sort of second part of what do companies look for, in my view. Well, I think companies look for people that listen, people that join in, people that are interested. Can everyone go on mute, please? There's quite a lot of noise there. And I think it's very simple, really. When someone joins a company, what do people look out for? I look out for people that are interested. Do come up to me and introduce themselves and tell me what they're doing. Do tell me ways in which they think DHL can be a better company. And sometimes I say, and I said it to my own children, if at 7 o'clock one night at work, someone says, oh, we need someone to help pack all the brochures or get ready for tomorrow's conference, can anyone help? Put your hand up and just join in and help out, even if it's not part of your job, because that way you'll meet someone in another department, you'll meet someone you haven't met before. Someone will say, oh, that guy was really helpful. He stayed till 11 o'clock at night unpacking boxes, whatever it is. So I think all those things, how to be successful in a company is much more simple than you imagine. It's about just getting on with people, being interested in what the company is all about, being committed, being enthusiastic, and listening. My grandmother once said to me, you have 2 ears and 1 mouth, and you should use them in proportion. Means you should listen more than you speak. Because when you're listening, you're learning. When you're not listening and you're speaking, you're probably learning. I'm doing all the talking now. So I'm learning a little bit because I'm thinking about how I share my views with you and then how I might do that differently in a different group or something like that. I'm learning a little bit, but by and large, and I say this in the right way, you should be the people, the listeners should be the people that are learning. And I think if anyone dialed into something like today, they should be scratching a few things down. They should be listening carefully, because that way you get value from it. But don't be confused about how simple it is to be seen as a good employee in a company when you join, and how you can progress through that company. And at what point perhaps you should leave that company if you're not happy. I say to everyone in DHL, stay here if you're happy, and if you're not happy, you should leave. And I always ask people to put their hand up. How many people have been in DHL 0 to 5 years? A few hands go up. 5 to 10, a few more hands. 10 to 15, a few more hands. Many people have been in DHL 10, 15, 20, 25 years. That says to me that they like the company and they're happy. And it's as simple as that. And Ken Lee in Asia, in Hong Kong, said a great line the other day. He said, happiness can't hide. It's absolutely true. If I walk around my operational facilities or I meet people all over the world, if they're happy in DHL, they can't hide it. It's as simple as that. And so I look for sort of shining eyes, and I look for happy people. So then I'll go on. My last point really is purpose, and Christoph is exactly right. Over Christmas that year, I started thinking about purpose, and I read a book called Connect by a guy called Lord Brown. It's an orange book. And it made me think about how companies sort of drive purpose. And Christoph is more of an expert than I, but I realized that we had to explain this better to our people. And we now have our wheel of purpose, and we can share that with anyone that's interested. The left-hand side of the wheel is all about what we do, moving packages from A to B, not just medical shipments or vaccines or things that obviously have a really strong purpose, but trade, things that connect Sri Lanka to Mozambique, things that connect London to New York, a banking document, a tea sample, whatever it may be. Trade is a very important part of purpose. So that's on the left-hand side. And then on the right-hand side of the wheel is, surprisingly or unsurprisingly, go teach, go trade, go green, go help. DHL's got heart and volunteering. So you put the right-hand side and the left-hand side together, you've got this magnificent wheel of purpose that makes it clear to everyone what we're involved in. And the one thing I learned from this book is that British American Tobacco, or a mining company in West Australia, or DHL, will all have different views on purpose, because what British American Tobacco do is grow tobacco, and they might be oriented by that tobacco may be harmful. They might be...
Hola, buen día. Espérenme, solo me salgo de esta llamada en la que estoy. Espérenme.
Someone needs to go on mute there. They might be focused very much on South America or Cuba or wherever where the tobacco is grown. A mining company might manifest their purpose differently. How do we manifest purpose in DHL? I say, I've got planes, trucks, I've got people in every single country in the world. So I need to use those assets that I've got, which are different to a tobacco company and different to a mining company or a rubber company. And I use those assets to help. So one day it'll be dealing with a country in disaster and getting goods into the airport. Another day it might be building houses in Peru, because we have people in Peru, in a small town, in a small village that can build a house. Another time it might be delivering food to people, because we have trucks and vans that can deliver food. And the last example, which I like very much, is that there was some flooding in northern Thailand once, and some remote villages were quite disconnected from the shops and things like that. Well, we had an office up there, and those people delivered food to the villages. So it's about our capability of vehicles, planes, trucks, automobiles, etc., where we have our people, and what our skill is, which is logistics. So that's why our wheel of purpose, and how we work with different organizations, and the ones we choose to work with most importantly, and we may well do much more on food banks and things like that, is so important to us. And I think as young people joining the company, more than ever now, they ask, what is the purpose of DHL? How, if I do volunteering, will I be able to take time off to do that, et cetera, et cetera. Very interested in that aspect of our business. And we have, we're a large organization, so we should ensure that we direct money and resource to help other people. The other day in India, I went to a short tree planting session with a great organization that is literally just planting trees. And it doesn't matter whether someone is planting trees or runs a cat or dog home or teaches children, different things in different countries. And so much of the important things at the minute are around sustainability. So it's probably been on most continents. I've traveled to 65 countries, almost all with DHL. I've been some on holiday, but they're the same ones I've been to. And it's quite difficult now to get another country. I was in India the other day, but I've been to India 15 times. So I need to go somewhere next where I haven't been, because I believe that every DHL office should be able to see me and see my management team, and that a small office deserves to see us no less than a big office. It might be more revenue in a big office, there might be more people, but a small office still doing the same things as a big office. So I need to find something, the thing there saying Dirk Van Dorn, my old colleague from Dubai, saying, welcome to Namibia. Well, that's another great example of a country I should go to. Thank you, Dirk. And I know that I'll be shown good hospitality there when I get there. In fact, my father did go to Namibia watching birds and things like that. So I wish you all much success and much luck. Take the simple guidance I've given you in the right way, and don't get confused by planning a career or finding a company. It'll just happen. You'll realize you want to be in the agri-business, dealing with food and how food is delivered to countries. You'll realize that you want to be in the medical profession, or you want to be in DHL. And if any of you want to be in DHL, there must be some process by which we can talk to you and see you, and whether it's giving someone a 2-week job or a 3-month job or something else. I believe in that, because people need to get that first thing on their resume. And there are a number of people on this call, and some of them I'm looking at now, who wanted to get their first thing on their resume. And it looks good. DPDHL, head of this, head of that, doing this, doing that in Bonn, which is a country which you may not be from, which then looks even more impressive. And you take the fact that you can speak some languages, well, the world is your oyster. You can be in my chair in no time at all. That would be what it's easy to talk too long on these things, but that would be the messages I want to convey to you all. So thank you very much for listening. And one day I hope to see you in Bonn and come and knock on my door.
That will be great to see you, John. What a wonderful and inspiring speech. Thank you so much for sharing with us all about your how to fulfill your purpose, also about how to get prepared for the future. And now, if it's fine for you, let me introduce the other moderators before we start with the panel discussion.
Sure.
So we have here today with us Anna and Sneha, but first I will introduce myself. So my name is Monica, I'm 25 years old, and I'm coming from Spain. I would like to leave the world better than how I found it, and that's why currently I'm studying for a master's degree in sustainability and corporate social responsibility. That's also why I joined DHL Express as an intern almost 1 year ago to learn and work in the sustainability department. And in my free time, I like to travel, to visit, and get to know different places and people. But now,
I eat chocolate. You say you like chocolate.
Also, I love chocolate. Now, it's a special honor for me also to introduce you to Sneha from India and Anna from Peru, to all of you. They will support me today during this moderation.
Thank you, Monica. Hello everyone, my name is Sneha Bhuyan, coming from the land of diversity, India. I am 21-year-old, currently pursuing my master's in business administration, specialization in human resource and marketing. And until now, I have worked with 4 different companies as an intern. Apart from my studies, I am one of the 10 Youth Advisory Board member working for SOS Children's Village International. My favorite pastimes are gardening, reading books, and I love exploring new places, creating videos, and taking pictures. I believe every day is a new beginning, and we should always have a positive approach for everything that happens in life. Thank you for having me here.
Thank you, Sneha. So let's go for Anna.
Hello, everybody. Thank you, Monica. I'm so happy to be here. My name is Ana Sofia. I'm from Lima, the capital of Peru. I'm currently 16 years old and in the 11th grade of my school. I have been on a scholarship program since I'm in 6th grade at one of the greatest schools in Lima. I will graduate in mid-2024, pursuing a career for now in political psychology. My hobbies are dancing and singing, reading, and talking about interesting topics, you name it. I like to try new things as my passion and curiosity for learning never disappear. At the beginning of 2022, I became a Student Advisory Council member of Teach for All, an interconnected global community that aims to better children's education all around the world. And it taught me that there are so many people around the world that wanted to be a better place, which goes to the vision I live by, to become better than yesterday, contributing positively to society.
So thank you both. Now with these 2 wonderful co-moderators and also with John, we will go to the panel discussion. And like that, we will have John as giving the business thought and also these 2 wonderful young, representing the young generation of today's world. So during the panel, we will discuss about the most relevant topics and challenges that we can find today. We will talk about sustainability, digitalization, future of work, getting employed, and the role of companies regarding the youth talent. For the audience, as you listen to the discussion, please keep thinking about questions that we will be able to make them after the panel. And now, the first question is for you, John. How will you define the future of work?
That's not that one. You need to click on. How would I define the future of work? Well, I think, work has changed, quite a lot because of technology, and work has changed because of the pandemic. But I have to say, we produced in DHL Express a very good paper called the Future of Work. It was called The Future of Work. And what it set out to do was create some form of policy by which all our people could understand what our framework was for sort of working from home, working from work, and all these types of things. So it stopped a lot of questions. It gave some clarity. It was probably what some people wanted and liked, and some people maybe didn't like it, to be honest with you. My own view is that work is best done from work. I'm at home now, and I was at home a lot during the lockdown, but work serves a psychological function. Working from an office serves a psychological function for many, as well as an economic function of being paid. Work is best when more people are in the office than less people are in the office. Trying to encourage people to come back to work. The sad thing is they can say, well, when I come back to work, there's no one there, so I go back home again. So if everyone sort of drifted back to the workplace, I think we will be far more efficient as a company. That is not to say that people do very good work from home, and I'm sure people can be just about as efficient and do just about as much as they do from work. I know in my own case, I'm more efficient when I'm at work, much more. I can get distracted, or I take the dog for a walk and the walk becomes 1 hour instead of 20 minutes. It's life. It's life. And all the jokes about people staying in their pajamas and working from their bed, that's life. That happens. So the future of work is really for us to be flexible, us to understand what people want, and us to give a framework that by and large, if I want everyone to be happy in DHL, that satisfies all our employees. But the reason why I do have the views that I have is because we are an operational company that has many people out on the ramp in Cincinnati or Leipzig at minus 10 degrees every night. Many people on the roads in Nairobi, on the roads in Lagos, on the roads in Bangkok, delivering packages, and many people in customer service offices handling calls from our customers. And those people will, or customer service can, those people can never work from home. Never work from home because they have a job that is working on the airport. So I want my managers to be visible to them because that's what leadership is all about. If we were a bank or a technology company, maybe my views would be a little bit different. So that's what I think about the future of work. It will change. It is changing. DHL Express has changed, and we've created a good framework. You're never going to make everyone happy, and those people need to work out whether they want to work 100% of their time from home, or whether they want to join others. And, you know, work is a great place to work, not home.
True, I agree. But it's also true that I think that people is very thankful that companies like DHL Express and the other ones in DPDHL are also adapting to the current world. Yeah. But obviously we need to give example also. So this question, now we are going for the next question, and this question is for Sneha and Anna. What are young people's biggest challenges when it comes to getting employed?
Thank you, Monica, for this amazing question. I think one of the biggest challenge is experience. Nowadays, most of the companies or institute require years of experience. Since most young people tend to have academic qualification but lack the work experience, it becomes difficult for them to get a job. Other challenges are lack of education and necessary skill to match the job market. Going to university and college is not enough anymore. Let's say I teach someone to catch a fish, but I know very well that inside the dam, we don't have any fish. But I'm teaching this person to fish anyway. So whatever we are trying to pursue on this job market, we must first know what is already in place for us to find employability in the sector. For young people, handling pressure is also one of the biggest challenge because nobody taught us how to do that. School and colleges are manageable, but work life is fall apart. Also, managing personal time and professional life has become quite a thing. This pressure creates a pile of depression over your head, and it feels like you can't get over it. What makes you leave the job, which later on hamper your CV.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, Sneha. And I will also add that for me, it's true that to attain a stable job, most places seek people with previous experience, as you've said, also happening in this part of the American continent. It is a big disadvantage for the youth as they recently entered into play. Unfortunately, the more accessible jobs contain few benefits and poor profits, such as it is being a waitress. The youth is entering a very competitive era right now, where if we don't have the requirements, such as studying in a prestigious university or having the right contacts for job opportunities, most young people would keep looking and tolerating challenging conditions until finding the right job for them. Sadly, in Peru, the group it affects the most are people outside the high economic status, making it harder for them to approach a better life. And the cycle continues and continues, which is difficult to get out of, but not impossible.
Thank you, Anna and Sneha. I think that that's the right mindset, and we need to try to end up with that circle that goes and goes on. Because we cannot afford to believe that it's not possible, and it's true that having the right contacts can help. But the good thing about now is that thanks to this globalized and interconnected world, we have social networks like LinkedIn or spaces like this event that allow us to get to know new people in a more approachable way. And regarding what Sneha was saying, I also believe that it's very important to do extracurricular activities during university and trying to do already some internship that will help us face the professional world after finishing university in a better way. And talking about extracurricular activities and additional knowledge, I have a question for all of you. Sustainability and green skills are an important theme for the future. How can young people get ready with green skills and meet the increasing global demand? So everyone will answer to this question, but John, if you want to start.
Well, it would be safer to say ladies first. Judging by the quality of Sneha and Anna's answer, wow, I'm ready to listen. But no, I mean, let me give my answer to that, and then Sneha and Anna can jump on because they both gave great answers to the previous question. How can young people get ready with green skills? So, if I understand that question right, it is around the green skill aspect of the question. My answer to that is the same answer actually to so many different topics like diversity or e-commerce or digitalization, what I call these one-word things in life that are suddenly very important to a company. And sustainability is important to DPDHL, diversity is important, e-commerce is important. The common thread with all of those is that whilst everyone and digitalization is important, whilst everyone understands roughly what that word means, you don't always find people that can talk intelligently to the topic, what it is we're seeking to do as a company, what are the priorities that we're going to drive first, and how will our employee base or the world or whatever it is that we're dealing with become better as a result of our program. There's a lot of what we call the fumble factor when people talk about these topics, and diversity is a great example of that, by the way. So the advice I give, how can young people get ready, is read a bit, learn a bit, listen a bit. A little bit of knowledge. This is a topic where a little bit of knowledge goes a long way because it allows you to have that springboard to more knowledge. And when I say read a bit, I literally mean read the internet, read books, buy a book. I learned more about purpose from reading that Connect book than probably I'd learned in my entire life before. So read a bit, listen a bit, talk to people that are in the green world, because if you're intelligent, and you guys all are, and you're interested in it, you'll naturally absorb. And then I also say to my people in DHL, and this was particularly to e-commerce, if there's a conference in Madrid or a conference in Paris about e-commerce, as long as it's, $500 or $1,000 or something, go along, sit there for the day. Take notes and come back and tell me or tell your boss what you learned about e-commerce, because that can shape our whole B2C and e-commerce commercial program in DHL Express, which started in 2016. And here we are on sustainability, and some people think it's all about the smoke going up from the building, and they forget about the social side and the governance side. Some people think it's all about human rights. So sustainability is a word that is actually quite ambiguous. Green is more intuitive. So my answer is just if you're interested in it, whether just personal interest or career interest, just read a bit, listen a bit, visit a summit or a conference, and you'll suddenly be standing on the shoulders of other people, because most people know nothing about this topic. So now let Anna and Sneha give something else on top.
Sure. For me, education is a powerful tool, as you've said, that can make people adapt progressively to these changes to acting based on green skills. Before learning what actions to take, it's important to remind young people about the necessity of having green skills, as climate change is an issue that affects us all. This is all for the common goal we all have of living a sustainable life for ourselves and our loved ones, taking enough care and preservation of our home planet, Earth. By having young generations, such as mine, act based on green skills, the impact would be significant for the better of humanity and the future. Earth is a place all companies and businesses depend on, and sometimes companies and people tend to forget that. At the same time, the adaptation to a greener world would be easier by having young generations learn about industry's impacts on the environment and acquiring eco-friendly habits from a young age. And not only that, but also being facilitated and encouraged by governments and companies that dominate the market.
I agree with Anna, education is key. But we have to realize that transition to green skill has to be done collectively. We need support from government policies and initiatives from the private sectors, such as converting their building to consume less energy. I connect with young people and I could see that though green skill, they only understand their responsibility as an individual to make green choice, like choosing eat local vegetables and growing farms in their area. But green skills are not only that. This topic is very new and learning about it now is more important than ever. According to a recent survey from Plan International, only 10% of young people between 15 to 19 years said they knew about green job. So to understand what green skills are, we must first understand what green jobs are. They can be traditional sectors like construction or in new green sectors like renewable energy or upcycling fashion. This means that in future, there will be entirely new topic of jobs as well as job transformation in order to replace those that are harmful for the planet. For example, if you want to learn how to repair a car, depending in which country you are from, maybe you should learn how to repair an electric car instead. But as I said in the beginning, it could be a collective action. Government and companies need to create green jobs, prepare young people with the skill, and support young entrepreneurs in the sector. Thank you.
I very much like your answers. I hope that we all can find a green job to work in the future because the world needs it. And as you were saying, collective action is also very important because we, like all of us, we need to take care about climate change, as it's a serious topic now because it's already affecting to millions of people all over the world. But also, as John was saying, sustainability is not only the green, we also need to take care about human rights and compliance, and companies need to take care about what they are doing because everything has an impact. So now let's move to another trendy topic, as it is automation. Next question is for John. How will you explain the thought that automation will lead to good jobs?
Well, in DHL, and Christoph Sprenger sort of taught me this, I like to think that the way to explain, firstly, we're growing as a company and we're still employing people. So there's more jobs tomorrow than there was yesterday and so on and so forth. And we're bringing people in. The automation sort of, Christoph will say, cuts out the boring tasks or the simple tasks that RPA or any form of digital technology can handle. And let me just clarify what I mean by that is, because someone might think, oh, is my job boring? Is that how you see it? No, that's not what I'm saying at all. I'm saying that technology and digitalization program in DHL Express is defined as embracing technology for the benefit of customer satisfaction, employee engagement, or operational efficiency, or all three. So as we develop digitalization programs and applications and initiatives into our business, some of them will take out the mundane, to be better than boring, mundane work that can easily be done by a script. So that's how I would describe it to something. At the end of the day, our business needs people, and people need to be in all aspects and functions and sub-departments of DHL Express, which is the company I'm responsible for. So no one should have any concern about automation. Automation is not new. The Digital Equipment Company, DEC, was founded in 1954. Do you not think that maybe took away roles from some people in 1954? Sure it did. It used to be a whole thing of typing pools. Typing pool meaning 50 men or women in a room just typing away. You don't see those anymore because technology has meant that process is redundant. So it's not new. It's not to be feared. It's to be embraced. And many jobs are created by the need to improve technology in a company. So have no fear. Have no fear.
Thank you, John. I think that after you explaining this topic, more people will be relaxed and now they will calm down and they will believe that automation will help us in the future and that it's not a threat. So now a question for you, Anna, Sneha. Do you see digitalization as a risk or as an enabler?
I think digitalization is an enabler for young people, and I believe every young people will agree with me. If right training is provided to them to upgrade their knowledge and skill. Nowadays, remote work is trending and it seems like it is the future of work. We can sit in any part of the world and can work in any country. This could only be done because of technology and human reversing digitalization. But digitalization can also become barrier for semi-skilled young people. Therefore, basic courses for digital skills should be provided from an early age so that there is no longer create any barrier later on. And for this, we need better internet connections and gadgets. Otherwise, we will be left behind and no access to many opportunities out there. Another important challenge that we need to talk about is gender equality. I am from India and this is one of the fast growing internet market, but only, according to a recent report, only 29% of Indian internet users are girls and women. In my country, there might be true that this might be true for many of the countries, but if the family has one mobile phone, then it is shared for only the male child. Advocacy for young right of children education, this challenges time is very crucial. Their right internet access should not be stopped only because they are girl.
There's a lot of truth in what you say, Sneha. Gender inequality is a global issue that should always be addressed and act accordingly. From my part, in this technological world, digitalization has been demonstrating that it brings many benefits to the table. Though in some cases might be a risk, in general, I see it as an enabler. With digitalization, we obtain access to tons of information, consequently making our opportunities range increase, especially in countries that are developing, such as Peru, developing countries. Unluckily, many rural areas around Peru lack access to internet, the main facility tool for technological devices to function, especially as digitalization goes hand to hand with education nowadays. The implementation of digitalization in rural areas could remarkably change young students to a brighter future. The purpose of digitalization is to make people's lives easier. However, the more we use it, the more we depend on it. Its influence can harm our autonomy and desire to work exceeding our own expectations, as I've experienced in Lima, the most modern city of Peru, that some people just wanted to do all the work for them. Still, the impact of digitalization mainly depends on the person, and with the right use and motivation, it supplies more opportunities for people that want to grow personally. It can connect people from different places, cultures, and learning from one another is key to a prosperous future.
So once again, very good points. Digitalization is bringing and will bring a lot of benefits to societies and in the future of work. But we need to be smart and get in the loop, so we are ready for the changes and challenges that will come with it. So next question is again for you too. What role do you think companies like DHL can play in helping young people get ready for the world of work?
Thank you, Monica, for the question. I know companies like DHL are executing programs with partnerships like right now SOS Children's Villages and Teach for All, where I come from, which offer many activities targeted at helping youth. For example, they have an activity of talks where their employees share different skills gained from working. These programs can immensely help young people in the future. There are more than 60 independent partner organizations in Teach for All that share the same goal. Therefore, one of the main focuses should be advertising these programs for the youth that might not possess a lot of technologies to find these programs on their own. Working with DHL helps these young innovators learn from great enriching sources, the employees that have already experienced what young adults are about to. Experience is the most profound way of learning. That's one of the core values my school has taught me. Therefore, the more partnerships companies have with these educational networks, the more lives are going to be inspired all around the world. Companies cannot only be stopped on educational networks, but also cooperate more with schools and universities to ensure young people's entry into the world of work. It might cause greater work for the company at first, but it can change the life of this young person only needing one last push to put their goals into reality.
SOS Children's Villages and DHL has global GoTech partnership in 53 countries. So this can help us connect with the world of work. You can conduct session where we can discover different work culture and maybe some of these countries even learn directly from DHL mentors. In this way, young people can use proper guidance and not face difficulties when they want to enter the world of work in their country or even abroad. Me and my peers in SOS Children's Village face a particular challenges. That is, we are not much connected with the outside world during our school and college time. So when we leave our care to become independent, we lack the network to support our way into the world of work. Mentor can support us based on our individual needs, talents, and skills. They can guide us to apply for internship in the domains we are interested in and connect us with other people in that domain. So we can grow our own network, then gaining work experience, providing more partnership and job shadowing opportunities will benefit us directly to transition from school to our future job. DHL can also support young people to become ready for future of work by providing a way to enhance their digital and green skill. I know that sustainability is an important topic for DHL, and this year you have increased efforts to make supply chain more sustainable in India. Create new jobs and teach your employee to keep us with the trend. So you have the knowledge and networks to teach us too.
So, Jan, we see there is a clear need and willingness in the youth to be more connected with companies and the business world. How is DHL addressing this need? And why does it make sense for a business organization like DHL to participate in this topic?
So to participate in the topic of, you're saying, Monica?
Yeah, like the role that companies have to make youth people more involved in the future of work.
Yeah. So, well, I think we've got a responsibility to make young people involved in everything, you know, whether it's the future of work, whether it's green, as we were just talking about, whether it's the other elements of sustainability, because if we bring, and it relates a little bit to diversity, when I see the second point, why does it make sense for business organizations to participate on this topic? Because it creates a better world. It creates a better world in one dimension of work and how people work and how happy people are at work. So it's fundamentally very important. And one of the analogies I use, which relates to work, is that people should leave work happy, because one very important reason, if they leave work unhappy, the people that suffer, and this relates to mental health and domestic violence at home, the people that suffer are the people at home. Because the guy's been at work all day, or the lady even maybe, but the guy's been at work all day, his boss is not helpful, his working conditions are bad, goes home in a really bad mood. In some parts of society, that person will, maybe if alcohol is involved and things, take it out on his family or her family. So I've learned that if we have a responsibility to send people home from work happy. That can be the end of a night shift, that can be the end of a day shift, and happy people make better family members. They spend more time coaching their village on football at the weekend. They spend more time helping with garden market in the village, whatever it may be. Unhappy people don't do that. And we have a responsibility. And I think a lot of the things we've been talking about is central to sending people home happy and getting young people into the organization with a diversity of views. So yeah, no argument on this from me.
That's nice. I also believe
we can learn a lot. We can learn a lot from young people that are on this call. I've learned things. This is my point about listening. If it doesn't matter what job I have, listening to, Anna and Sneha and Monica and anyone else that's spoken, Christoph, we're learning all the time, and I believe in lifelong learning, and that can make a bigger contribution sort of when we return to work on Monday. As my old boss used to say, you should celebrate, and you should say, yes, it's Friday. But equally, you should say, yes, it's Monday. I'm going to go and see my work colleagues and catch up and talk about the football and whether Netherlands beat Argentina or Portugal beat someone else or whatever. So you should, because you're at work 5 days out of 7. You may as well enjoy 5/7 of your life as much as you enjoy 2/7. It makes good sense. And I think people enjoy it if they're at work, but I fully respect those people that a work from home environment suits them. And there are companies that allow people to do that 100% of time. Understand that. So thank you.
Thank you. That's again the importance of flexibility, but it's also important that companies have the responsibility of making us happy. It's true that we spend a lot of time in working hours, so it's nice to have great colleagues and also like to feel that the company is some safe space in which you can develop and grow and see a future there. It's important to be happy. True.
Very.
So let's go for the last question for each of you. After all we have discussed, what will be your advice for young people who are getting ready for the future of work? Again, John, if you want to begin.
Well, I can be quick because I would say the same thing I said at the beginning. Try and just keep on reading and thinking and understanding where your passion lies. Don't be in a rush when you learn your friend, oh, I've got a job. Oh, I've got a job. Haven't you got a job? Well, no, maybe I haven't got a job, but I'm still looking to where I can be really happy. Take up opportunities for 2-week, 4-week, 6-week, 8-week internships. Build your resume. Whatever it is, it doesn't matter. I said to my kids, everyone's first job can be pretty lousy. My first job was selling plastic bags. There is no bad job. It could be road sweeping. And I mean that. It could be sweeping the roads and then you get a different job in a waste management industry. There is no bad job. You're fulfilling something for society and there is no bad job. Someone once said to me, hi, John, my name is so-and-so and I'm sorry, I'm just in CS. I say, don't say you're just in CS, customer service. You should be proud to be in CS because customer service is what makes our customers happy. So in fact, you're one of the most important people in the company. People should never be embarrassed about what they do, being less good than someone that's a doctor or a brain surgeon or whatever else. Everyone fulfills a role.
Great point.
Yeah, very inspirational. This is such a nice question. Personally, I believe that the best advice for young people just like me is to have perseverance. Throughout life, in this gigantic and surprising world, never stop finding opportunities for a better change in your lives. We are capable of everything we set our minds to. The secret is to not be afraid of making mistakes and keep going, to absorb all knowledge we can with the tools we have. Let's think about the impact we want to make not only to ourselves but our society and environment. The only times where you will 100% fail is when you're not trying, really. There is so much information and experiences out there that can shape you into the person of your dreams. You only need to keep experiencing. Fear will always be there, but we have the power to control it and convert it into our comfort zone, so we get used to it and never stop learning. It is about falling and getting up again. With our purpose in mind, success will eventually come.
Again, very inspiring last phrase. Sneha, do you want to continue?
Yeah, my advice for young people is to increase your participation level. You can start from your classroom participation. It will not only help to boost your confidence, but will also help you to gain experience, which will definitely help you add something in your CV and try to move with the trend. There is a saying in English, life is about moving and accepting changes and looking forward to what makes you stronger and more complete. So when you are choosing a career, do proper research about your field, job availability in the future, what type of additional skills you require to master your field. Make it your goal. If you are targeting a company for a job, then be updated about its requirement for the role. Also, keep your LinkedIn profile updated and create connection with people from your field of interest. Reading additional book, just like John said, reading a bit and a lot of the thing, listening. Additional books may help you a lot. In like you can read in around like 6 months and one book maybe, and try to get certified course related to your field. Maybe learning a foreign language if you are someone like me who want to work with multiple company. Last but not the least, don't forget to ask for help when you need.
That's great. After listening to you, I remember my first week of university. I had a talk with one alumni, and he was very clear about one thing. He was comparing us to delicious green apples, but he was saying that there are a lot of green apples in the world. So we need to do something different. We need to become the red apple. And for that, as our panelists have said, and also John, we need to be curious and proactive, and we need to fight for the future that we want. We need to find our purpose. And also, like maybe for that, it will help that if we look for companies and see what they are asking for, what they are looking for. So we need to gain confidence and try to connect with others. We need to see the world and what the trends are, sustainability, because sustainability, for example, or digitalization, they are coming to stay. And we need to master those topics. And last but not least, remember that childhood dreams can come true. And we have here today the perfect example of a dream come true. And also, as John was saying, don't rush and look for your way to be happy. Because that's the final purpose that everyone should follow.
So now let's...
Oh my God. Don't worry if you don't have any questions.
So now let's go on with the next point on our agenda, the hot chair. Everybody, you have the opportunity to write down a question in Slido for John, which he will pick up and answer. For this, you can simply use again the QR code or enter the code DHLWOT at slido.com. So let's see which questions comes up from the audience. Let's begin with the first question.
Okay, so, well, I think there are lots of good questions, but one of the questions I always ask is, let's say I'm talking to, Anna, let's say, to make it simple. So I'm interviewing Anna, and I say, Anna, and Anna is already working at a company. I say, Anna, if I bumped into your boss, give me 5 adjectives that your boss would say about you. And then Anna would think about what her boss would say about her. So might say hardworking, intelligent, good team worker, whatever. And it's very interesting how some people find this question hard because maybe they don't self-reflect enough. Some people find it very easy. And invariably, people give me 5 really positive things. And then I say, well, I didn't say 5 positive things. I said 5 things. And then someone says, oh, okay. Then they say, oh, okay, I worked too hard. And I said, well, that's still positive. And people find it very difficult. Very rarely does someone say something like, yeah, I'm impatient. And that's a problem I have, and I'm trying to fix it. They very rarely say that. And then my second interview question is the same type of question as, say, I was still talking to Anna. Okay, Anna, if I bumped into one of your girlfriends outside of work, someone that doesn't work for the company you work for, and say, why do you like Anna? What 5 adjectives would they say? Oh, I'm friendly, I can be trusted, I'm very loyal, I always say yes whenever anyone's suggesting. Again, it tells me a lot about the person because they tell me 10 things that someone would say about them, and it tells me how quickly they're able to answer it. So that's the question. That's my favorite question, and it probably tells me the most. So it's resistant to embrace the DHL culture and can be rather negative. How would you approach engaging the staff to be happy here? Okay. That's a difficult question. I don't know that you work at DHL, but it sounds like you do. Well, I think it's a difficult question, but you should tell your boss. You should identify. You should try and identify why people are negative, who is negative, where the negativity is coming from, and discuss that with someone who you trust, and then they should make it better. So that's what I'd say. And Emilio, if you have a dream job but you don't like the office environment, what would you do? I'd probably, I don't know, I'd probably be a guide in a forest or something, something outside that involves walking, being in nature, and so on and so forth. But many people, I live in a little village outside London where there's a very famous gardens called Kew Gardens, Kew Gardens. And every day when I walk to the village or the train station, I see people with a t-shirt saying Kew Gardens, and they work in the gardens, and that's what they love doing. So yeah, you should all find your passion. Do you believe that anyone that can be a CEO? Well, I think for sure. And I'm a good example of that. I barely went to university. Yeah, I really believe that. And I think it's the three qualities that's really difficult. But I suppose listening, trust, and empathy would be the three things. If you don't listen, you'll never get anywhere in life because people notice it and they don't like it. They're spending their time talking to you and they can see in your eyes or your body language that you're not listening. That will tick people off straight away. So listening, trust, give trust, be trustworthy. Trust is quite a complex thing. Depends who's asking for it and who's giving it. And actually, I'll change the third one, be authentic, be what you are. That's what I would say. And work hard and contribute. How do you think young people should be entering the world of work? Lionel, how do you think young people should be? I don't know whether it means how young you should be or how do you think they should get into the world of work? Well, I think if getting in is the way I said, there is no right age. How can we encourage girls and companies to take up? Well, we're spending a lot of time at DHL Express encouraging people to hire more women, attract more women into DHL, because if you have more fish, it's like fish in a pond. There's male and female fish. The more female fish, excuse the analogy, that there are in the pond, the more chance there is of filling the next job, and the next job with a woman. And I firmly believe in gender diversity. How is a typical day of a CEO? One of the biggest. How is it? Well, I don't know. It can be everything. It can be on a plane for 12 hours to Japan. It can be having an EOI event somewhere. I try and fill it with people and my team, I suppose. Talking to my team, talking to their team, and making sure I'm connecting with people. That's where I get the most value. I'll officially start working at DHL Express from next week. Well, lucky you, because you've made a great decision. In the future, I want to have the opportunity to work abroad, for sure. And I'm a great example of someone that worked overseas my whole life. In fact, I've never worked in the UK, apart from when I sold plastic bags. So yes, if you have the ability to move overseas, you have maybe the language that's involved overseas, for sure, you'll be able to work overseas if people see that you can contribute. Does DHL have a sector for health? Yeah, so life science, healthcare sector, that's a very important sector for us, vaccines and medical diagnostic equipment and testing and all sorts of things. So yeah, that's an important part of our business.
We are running out of time.
The last one.
Perfect, the last one.
I'm interested to see it. What has been your biggest goof up? Oh, I don't know. I haven't made too many, thankfully, but don't be afraid of making goofs up. You look at every disaster as an opportunity, and if you've got a good boss or if you've got a good team, then don't worry about a goof up. I've definitely made some, but none of them spring to mind right now. But don't be afraid of them.
Okay, perfect. So I know that there are some questions left, but we will be able to answer them and we will send them over to you by email to everyone that has signed up. So no worries, I have also seen there are some questions in the chat. We will also try to reply to them. But John, I'm reflecting on the great discussion that we have, and I hope that you are as impressed by all these inspirational young leaders as we are. Is there any last comment from you that you would like to tell them?
Any last words?
Yeah.
No, I think I've said everything really. I think it's, well, no, there are a few actually. Firstly, I'd congratulate the moderators. And great questions, great inputs, and that's coming from, you come from a place that I don't naturally think, coming from an intellectual space where I'm not naturally thinking. So I found your answers really interested. I'm really, pleased that people dialed in, however many people it was in the end. You've made the right decision because you are doing the things that I said in my first words, listening and trying to learn and trying to think about what you want to do, and don't rush that, as I said. And yeah, those would be my words really. And I wish you much luck for the person joining DHL. That was the best decision I ever made. DHL is not for everyone. Some people might not like DHL. It suits, a lot of people, but, I try and welcome anyone into DHL. I say to my employees, if you've got a cousin, a sister, a brother, a friend, someone you respect, someone you think has good values, put them in for an interview. And whether that's in Peru or Papua New Guinea or Kenya, wherever it may be, just tell them to come along for an interview. Maybe tell HR that one of your friends is coming, so at least that guarantees an interview. Whether they get the job or not is a different thing. But do that, because I believe charity begins at home, and we look after the people that maybe we're connected to. And SOS Children's Villages and Teach for All are two such examples of that. So I wish everyone a good weekend in the meantime.
Thank you, John. I think that you have been very inspiring, and knowing that your last words were again about values and being happy and helping others, and also following your dreams. That was what you were taking before. It's really very nice to hear it from a CEO of this great company.
Thank you.
Now please let me use this opportunity also to thank everyone involved in the organization for today, the organizers, the World of Tomorrow organizing team, including team members from DHL team, SOS Children Villages, Teach for All, our wonderful interpreters who helped taking this webinar to a wider global international audience. And also thanks to my wonderful panelists, Anna and Sneha. Of course, also to you, John, for taking the time out of your very busy schedule to join us today. And it was such a pleasure being able to connect with you. So also thank you, Christoph, for encouraging us always. And now, after having said my thanks, for the final remarks, let me hand over to Sneha and Anna again for the last time, representing all the youth people out there. You guys did an amazing job. It was a pleasure being able to lead through this event together with you. So, Sneha, if you want to say something.
The webinar is in the end now. So I have always I have a message for youth that is always have a positive approach in your life, no matter how hard it has been, because there are people around you who are working for you and you are their inspiration. Just, and never give up on things you enjoy doing, because your hobbies and your passions become everything. When things are turning black, then this can become a source of earning for you. Believe in the process, you will reach your destination. Love yourself, because you will be the only one who is there with you forever. Thank you so much for having me with you. I'm truly blessed to be here, and I'm taking back a lot from this inspiration webinar. Thank you, John, for your motivational speech. I will definitely share your message with youth I am connected with. Thank you, DHL, for providing us the platform. It was a great pleasure for me to be here. Thank you.
Yeah, I said. Oh, okay. So my last words are it was an honor to have been part of this fulfilling environment, Thank you for having me here again. John, if I may say, you're very inspiring, and I'm sure we all gained a lot of valuable knowledge from this webinar. Platforms like this are essential because our different perspectives, as you know, help us learn from each other. Thank you, Monica, for this amazing guidance on the webinar, on this journey. Thank you, Sneha, for sharing all your insights. And for everybody here, remember, we are our #1 supporter, and if we want to do something, we can do it. Hopefully, the webinar got us closer to our dream path in the future of work. Don't stop dreaming, as dreams can come true.
Again, very inspiring last phrase. Thank you, Anna. And now this goes to the end, but please give us feedback for today's edition via the given QR code that you will find on the screen, or also they will put the link in the chat. And this was the last webinar of the year. So many things and events have happened that we can look back on, but further editions are planned in the future, so stay tuned. If you don't want to miss them, that I hope that you don't, you can subscribe to the newsletter via the QR code on the right that is now on the screen. And I'm sure that many young people out there will leave this session with a lot of motivation and drive to go forward and to try to be happy and find their way. So in this sense, let me close this session right now. Thank you, John. Thank you, everyone joining, and goodbye. Enjoy the weekend.
Thank you.